Have you ever wondered what happens when someone who once stood at the very center of the world's most famous royal family begins to fear becoming invisible? Not because of one scandal. Not because of one interview. But because every move they make seems to push the future further out of reach. According to royal biographer Tom Bower, Prince Harry's greatest nightmare isn't a courtroom defeat or another wave of harsh headlines. It's something far more personal. The terrifying possibility that the monarchy is quietly moving on without him, and that one day he could wake up to discover the royal connection he has fought so hard to preserve has simply disappeared. And if that's true, then every interview, every public appearance, every headline may suddenly look very different. Because this story isn't just about what Harry has already lost. It's about what some royal commentators believe he fears could still be taken away.
A modern monarchy. Well, a modern monarchy can't include Prince Archie, Princess Lilibet. They've got to remove the titles. They've got to constrain it, and that really is what Harry rightly fears, that he will just be Mr. Harry Windsor.
The theory begins with a moment that happened years ago but, according to Bower, has never truly left Harry's mind. From the day Prince William became the undeniable future king, the royal roadmap changed forever. While William's destiny pointed directly toward the throne, Harry's future became far less certain. As family tensions escalated over the years, commentators began asking uncomfortable questions. If William eventually becomes king, what role, if any, would remain for his younger brother? Would there even be a path back? Or had that door quietly closed long ago? According to Bower's interpretation, this uncertainty has become one of the biggest shadows hanging over Harry's future, with the possibility that a streamlined monarchy may simply leave no space for his return.
That I always thought that when William became king, he'd just banish Harry, but I think he'll banish them both and take their titles away, and now Harry might even wonder, will he take the prince title away, just to make absolutely sure there's no connection with the royal family and also his children. The Montecito couple are potentially a grave threat to the British monarchy, which are altogether.
And that is where another question begins to dominate the conversation. If the monarchy continues to become smaller, what happens to the titles that have defined Harry's public identity for decades? Throughout every headline, every documentary, every speech, one thing has remained constant: the title Prince Harry. According to the transcript, Bower believes Harry worries that losing that royal identity would change far more than just a name. Titles carry symbolism. They open doors. They shape public perception. They keep a royal connection alive even from thousands of miles away. Remove that connection, critics argue, and suddenly the entire public image begins to look very different. Whether that ever happens remains uncertain, but the possibility itself has become a major point of discussion among royal observers.
Bomb ticking. Once the king departs, I think the new king, Prince William, he wants to slim down and clean up the monarchy.
The concerns don't stop with Harry alone. The conversation extends to Archie and Lilibet, whose royal titles have also become part of ongoing public debate. According to the transcript, Harry is portrayed as worrying that without strong ties to the institution, the family's royal identity could gradually lose its significance over time. Meanwhile, critics argue that the family's move to California inevitably created distance, not only geographically but emotionally, from the wider royal network. Whether those relationships can ever fully recover remains unknown, but the discussion continues to fuel endless speculation.
Harry's biggest fear is that he's about to become irrelevant as soon as Prince George hits 18. He's got a limited window to be relevant at all. He's not worried about press. He's worried about fading out as an irrelevant royal. He loves it, she loves it. They just don't like the bad stuff. Well, guess what? It's called being a public figure. Grow up and deal with it.
Then comes perhaps the biggest obstacle of all: trust. Royal insiders and commentators have repeatedly returned to one word that seems to dominate every discussion surrounding reconciliation: trust. According to Tom Bower, rebuilding relationships inside the palace is not simply about apologies or meetings behind closed doors. It is about convincing those at the very top that private conversations will remain private in the future. After years filled with interviews, documentaries, and Harry's memoir Spare, some commentators argue that confidence inside the institution has been deeply affected. Whether that perception is fair or not, Bower believes it has become one of the greatest barriers standing between Harry and any possible return. The discussion grows even more dramatic when attention turns toward the possibility of reconciliation itself. According to the transcript, Bauer argues that any future path back could involve an extraordinarily difficult step, publicly acknowledging past mistakes. That would mean revisiting some of the most talked about moments of recent royal history, including the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, and Harry's memoir. These moments transformed private family disagreements into global headlines watched by millions. If reconciliation ever became possible, commentators speculate that repairing trust could require far more than private conversations. Whether such a scenario would ever unfold remains entirely speculative, but Bauer presents it as one of Harry's greatest personal challenges. As the years have passed, another concern appears to have emerged. Reputation. Every interview now attracts intense scrutiny. Every statement is analyzed. Every appearance sparks another round of debate across newspapers, television panels, and social media. According to the transcript, Bauer argues that Harry worries restoring public confidence may be increasingly difficult after years of controversy. Whether audiences agree or disagree, the reality is that every new headline seems to reopen old discussions rather than close them. Instead of escaping the past continues to follow him, becoming part of every new chapter. But perhaps the biggest question has yet to be answered. If royal influence fades, what replaces it? Because according to the transcript, another institution now sits at the center of Harry's future, one that may carry even greater importance than many people realize. And what happens next could determine not only his public image, but the legacy he hopes to leave behind. According to the transcript, one of the biggest tests facing Prince Harry today revolves around something that has long been viewed as one of his proudest achievements, the Invictus Games. Unlike the ongoing debates surrounding royal titles or palace relationships, Invictus represents a project closely associated with Harry's own work and identity. But Tom Bauer suggests that even here, uncertainty has begun to creep in. The transcript describes growing concerns surrounding funding, security, public controversy, and increasing attention on Harry and Meghan themselves rather than the wounded veterans the event was created to honor. Whether those concerns ultimately affect the games remains to be seen, but the conversation has become impossible to ignore. For Harry, according to Bauer's interpretation, protecting Invictus is about far more than one event. It is about protecting one of the most important parts of his public legacy. Then comes another issue that, according to the transcript, weighs heavily on Harry's future: financial pressure. Bauer argues that influence and financial success have become closely connected in today's media landscape. The transcript suggests Harry continues pursuing interviews, public appearances, charitable initiatives, and speaking engagements partly because remaining visible is essential to maintaining future opportunities. Whether that assessment is accurate is open to interpretation, but Bauer presents it as a growing concern. As major commercial projects slow and expectations evolve, commentators continue debating what comes next for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The transcript frames this moment as a turning point rather than simply another chapter. If Bauer's interpretation is correct, then Harry's greatest challenge may not be defeating critics or changing headlines. It may be confronting a future where influence depends less on royal status and more on rebuilding trust, defining a lasting legacy, and finding a role beyond the institution he left behind. Whether that future brings reconciliation, continued distance, or an entirely new chapter is something only time can answer. But until then, the questions remain, and so does the worldwide fascination surrounding one of the most talked about families in modern history.